Hello, it is Rachel with Servos Kitchen Academy, and today I wanted to do a quick breakdown of some different base cabinet configurations using all of our 3D printed miniatures. Okay, so first, let's talk about your different sink base configurations. So we all know and love a farmhouse sink, but did you know that they can't just go in any sink base cabinet? They need a specific cabinet, usually called a farm sink cabinet or an apron front sink cabinet. And so let's talk about what's different. So this is an apron sink. So it's got a much fatter front than, a different sink would have. So that does require a special cabinet. Your traditional sink base cabinets look a bit like this. They'll have a dummy front, that's a false front, across the top, and they're pretty empty on the inside. Sometimes they have a back, sometimes they don't. And this is kind of how these work. So this would be a top mount sink, okay? So you can see that this would sit on your countertop, and this sits in the top of your cabinet, and this in here is all empty so that the sink bottom, about 9 inches deep, extends below, and you can see how you couldn't really put a drawer in there. Versus a regular base cabinet looks just like this, but this has a drawer, and so with the drawer there, you obviously can't put the sink in there. So back to our apron sink cabinet, you have your sink right here like this. You can see the doors are set lower, and this whole piece is cut out, unlike this one, and that is for your sink to be able to sit in the top. Now, sometimes they have one of these shelves, sometimes they don't. That kind of depends on the manufacturer, but this is the idea. And so basically, if you want an apron sink, you do kind of have to know that before you get started in your whole design process, because it's a completely different cabinet. And it's not always easy to retrofit. Some people think they can just cut this out, but as you can see, these doors are bigger than these doors, and so cutting it out isn't always an option. So that's a little bit about the sink base cabinets before we move on to other base cabinets. Okay, so we talked about our sink bases. These are your different base cabinet configurations. So the well-known ones, you've got these are called door and drawer. They can come in 2-door or single door. Sometimes this will be 2 drawers at the top. This is just one big drawer. Or you can have one with just a single drawer at the top. Okay, so that's one configuration. Then you have what's called a drawer base. So this is a base of drawers or a drawer bank, chest of drawers. They have different kind of names, but this is the configuration. You'll have 2 drawers, 3 drawers, or 4 drawers, just depends on what you've got going on. And then you've got a full height door. So this has no drawer at all, it's full height. So these most commonly you see in like 6 inches wide, 9 inches wide, but they do go all the way up to usually about 21 inches wide. Past that, well, 24 sometimes. Anything past that, you're gonna have a lot of warpage with just a single door. So that's typically why you don't have it like that, but they will do a double door configuration. So just like this, but with 2 single full height doors. Okay, I don't have a base cabinet, but this is an upper cabinet with 2 full height doors. Obviously, you can't have a drawer and an upper cabinet, but you can have this in a base configuration. I did find my 2-drawer base cabinet. So these are really popular. They're great for pot and pan storage, since these are about 12 inches deep, each one, to be able to put all kinds of really heavy stuff in there. This is an ergonomic, just great option, because that way, you don't have to bend down to get heavy objects out. It's going to be right here. So you get to just reach in, and you're keeping everything at that safe lifting, balanced point right here. And then you can just walk forward to close these drawers. And so those are really great. And then this was what I was saying too. This is one cabinet with 2 large doors and 2 individual drawers instead of just 1. So that kind of just depends on what the client might want or what your manufacturer will prepare for you. Another base configuration would be for appliances. So sometimes they will have a drawer underneath. Sometimes they're just open depending on what size appliance you're putting in here. This one would be for like a microwave, and so those would sit in here, and then you'd still have an accessible drawer underneath. A lot of microwaves will have little trim kits to make this look really built in and nice. I already have a video posted about blind corner cabinets, so be sure to go check that one out. But just to kind of go over some base corners, you have your piano hinged doors. You'll see these in Lazy Susans, which everyone's pretty familiar with. They are going to be shaped like this. So this one isn't, but what you're going to see in real life is these back corner pieces right here are going to be squared off. And honestly, the reason is that these are 36 by 36. And if this is intact, you can't get it through a 36-inch opening, which is typically how doors are. So, but this is the overall corner shape. A lot of people like these for design because you've got perfect numbers. So that's really helpful for people. The other corner option, this is an upper, but you do see this diagonal with bases as well. You'll see this in corner sink options and things like that. So these are really cool corner pieces. You don't see them as much anymore, but corner sinks just aren't as popular, but you can do corner sinks and corner cooktops. So these are actually really cool. Don't sleep on these. They're pretty great. And then of course the blind corner, which I have an entire video on already, my personal favorite. Okay, that's what I have for kind of a base cabinet overview for today. I do have my training program getting ready to launch where I have deep dives into all things cabinets, all things kitchen design. I talk about appliances, countertops, everything you can think of, but I just wanted to put this together as like a overview of base cabinetry. There's so much information out there. I could really probably talk for absolute hours about all of these things. Anyway, my training program is going to go live here soon. We're going to have group coaching calls and meetings, and I'm actually going to a conference in November. So plenty of opportunity for you guys to join, sign up, and then we can keep talking about cabinets. And I am just really excited to be able to bring all of this information to people who want it. And I'm really looking forward to continuing this conversation with everybody. Have a great day.